Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kept you waiting,
This
huh?
channel exists.
We do still exist. Welcome back to Wrath and Glory on the Unlucky Rolls channel. I am Trisky. I run the channel. This is our Wrath and Glory campaign with the Blackstone Tales. I am joined by all of our players today. So we have Marius playing Sator Eycanse, Reaper Joe playing the eponymous rogue trader Holtz. I'm still using that word even though I don't know exactly what it means because fuck you. We have Chrono playing Saphar Shaitaneese, and we have our Game Master 6.5.
Howdy.
And we're gonna do a couple things for brevity this time, but as a brief summary of last session that we had a little over a month ago, we were still on the night planet, trying to end the tournament so we could take the knights to do the important things. And
Good summary.
Holtz did his little wager game where whoever held on to him would get a free bombardment from his rogue trader ship. And he is currently in custody with I forget which faction. Which group was it?
No, he
Reaper?
wasn't in custody with the just.
Well, that was.
Well,
that
he was.
House, yeah.
He was. Yeah.
He was in custody with House Thunderbolt.
House Maleficent, and then
Again. And instead of like continuing this narrative on this planet about like, in a game about, you know, exploring weird worlds and doing weird missions, we're going to have a little bit of a montage of things happening, and then we'll have everybody on the Blackstone heading back to Gilneas in short order. So the Thunderbolts managed to hold Holtz until the time limit, and the threat of an orbital bombardment is just too much for these other night houses, and they all one by one throw their claim in with the Thunderbolts, and the Thunderbolts take the tournament in just a few days, maybe a week or so. There's a huge ceremony for the end of the tournament at that major city on the northern edge of the planet, in which the games master is executed in front of everybody, marking the end of the games, and the city itself is demolished. Everyone is taken out with those like little floaty scout platforms, and the city like explodes. Is demolished by like a contingent of knights just shooting into it. So this planet is now like barren once again. All of the night houses get their like mobile fortresses picked up and taken back to the main forge planets, and the Thunderbolts get their drop fortress picked up and deployed aboard the Blackstone. So they're going to be coming with you back to Gilneas. Is there any questions or any like things people want to do while they're still at Yurdant?
Do I retrieve all my fucking broken shit?
Oh yeah. So there's so much scrap to pick up that like you probably have like a couple of like broken down knights that none of the night houses picked up yet, or like the night house like ceased to exist, so they don't. You know, they have no claim to the salvage, so you pick it up.
I'm building a fucking mega gargant.
Oh, there was that one night that like let me escape to get kidnapped by House Maleficent. What happened to that night? Like, what did Lady Thunderbolt do with that night? And
I think I don't think anybody knew how you escaped. Unless you want to tell them. I think he's gotten away scot-free thus far.
Well, I will make a if I can find him, I will make a request. Or not a request, I will make a proposition to him.
Sure.
And I will basically just say is like, hey, you're pretty much the only person on this entire planet that was worth half a damn, because you basically single-handedly secured your house victory. Would you like to work for my rogue trader house personally? It'll be half the glory and twice the work as working with your house. But I will guarantee that you'll be going to a lot of but the work needs to be done. Like it's more of like, this work needs to be done and I really want you aboard my ship type thing.
More like appealing to his sense of honor than his sense of
honor. That'll be, let's see, what kind of test will that be? It'll be a tough test because he's thrown in his honor with the Thunderbolts. He's made a vow or whatever, but he's kind of broken that vow already. So that's the reason why you're able to make that roll at all.
Yeah.
So that'll be, and is this like this isn't like a deception? Like you're honestly asking him to join your crew, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm basically asking for him as a free blade. Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be a persuasion check, probably like difficulty like 6, I think. Because he's got he's honor born, right? So
would I've been able to heal up by this point?
Yeah, everyone's at full wounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's at full wrath and everything. So
yeah, 0
fields reset and all that.
I don't know why it still says +1 to DN still.
Let's see. Let me look through your sheet here and see if there's something somewhere. Oh, I think that is it that like wounds are counted up on the sheet for some reason, so it should be like 0 and 0 shock. Is that the reason?
It is. It should be 9 out of 9 and
no. It's that was the reason. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it should be 0 wounds, right? Yeah.
That's weird, but yeah, that is, I guess.
You're right. It should be. Like 40k usually goes the other direction, where like wounds are like how many you have, rather than how many like
you take. Yeah.
How many you've taken or whatever. But yeah, the 0 thing was the
it would be 0.
Because it's trying to be more faithful to the tabletop.
Next question. I have an effect as a rogue trader to persuasion tests, which gives a bonus to acquire goods and services. Does this count here or not?
I don't think so. I think services typically are like a temporary thing, right? And like this is like that's like purchasing something. This isn't he's not asking for money, right? This is like
it's fine.
You'll pay him and everything, I'm sure.
That would be like.
I'm definitely if you're letting me like throw wealth onto this, I'm throwing wealth onto this.
You can throw wealth onto it to improve the number of dice you get if you want.
To improve the number of dice I get. Okay.
Yeah. So every wealth you spend will be a dice on the test if you want.
I'll put in one of my 2 wealth.
Okay.
Makes it +1 bonus. So yeah, here we go.
Nice.
That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just what I needed.
Yeah. It is. It's got the stamp, so you got it. All right. So he asks for some time to think about it, and it's a long trip back to Gilneas. So maybe a couple of weeks later, he'll come to you and say, he'll say, "I've done it. I have cut myself out of the Thunderbolts," and he like shakes off his coat, and one of his hands has been like chopped off.
Oh God.
And been replaced with like a robotic hand. And he like looks down at it, like it sort of like noisily whirs as it moves, and he says, "This was the price of my double betrayal, I guess." And he says, I'm willing to give you an oath, if you will have me."
It would be my honor, Sir Knight.
I missed that sentence. I'm sorry.
It would be my honor, Sir Knight.
Yeah, so he'll kneel and then he'll do the full knight's oath. It takes a long time. It's a long oath.
As is everything in 40K.
Yeah.
I just imagine at like multiple points, like the half of us walk onto scene in the background, get like a cup of coffee, and leave.
Yeah, and so I don't remember his name. I'll have to go look it up in that episode. But you have Sir Knight Guy, from the Thunderbolts, and his warden at your disposal. Yeah. So if you ever need to, get in contact with him, or
is Sir Night Guy his name? It's just like French.
That'll be his name until I go back to the previous episode and figure out what name I gave him.
So after he swears his oath, he turns towards he turns towards Gizmek. He's like, "Hey, by the way, thanks for getting all of that scrap to help repair the new knight that I have on my ship."
God.
What does Gizmek say to that?
Wait, sorry, I was replying to chat.
So once he had after Sir Night Guy swears his oath to Holtz, he gives him a brief tour of the ship and also takes him to where Gizmek hoarded his scrap, and I'm assuming Gizmek is there looking at all the new knight scrap that he got. He's like, "Oh, by the way, Gizmek, I just acquired we just acquired the services of our own personal knight. Meet Sir Knight Guy. I should probably thank you for bringing aboard all of this spare scrap to help repair his knight."
Gizmek turns, looks at you, and just "You trying to joke with me, Holtz?"
Oh, that is why you brought it aboard, isn't it?
You know damn well it isn't, you dumb git. Turns around, continues welding something.
Yeah, and the
he's welding it without a mask on.
Yeah, it's without a mask. I have obvious burn scars on my face.
Just staring right into the light.
And the night pilot sort of misses the anger in Gizmek's voice and says, "This is a mighty fine repair bay for my knight and my retainers." Oh yeah, he's got 2 armatures that are coming with him.
Gizmek turns and looks at the knight, and he's just like, Yeah, your knight. Just know you're gonna have to help me. If you're gonna force me to build his knight instead of making my bloody mechagongan, you owe me quite a bit, Holtz.
Oh no, the warden itself is currently in fighting shape, as are his attendants. But knights require constant refit and resupply.
I can do repairs and shit, sure, but I'm using this scrap for my projects.
Oh.
Don't mind Gizmek. He's very eccentric.
Yeah, eccentric. That's the word I use, bloody kid.
Holtz is snickering entirely to himself.
Yeah, this guy's got a look on his face what have I gotten myself into?
Look, Mr. Night Guy. Just a little bit of a brief. He's just fucking with you a little bit at my expense.
I've put those... Go ahead.
Saphar is going to walk up behind the Night Guy, just sort of put a hand on his shoulder and just sort of give him that sort of curt, knowing smile of, welcome to the shit show.
I just imagine this fucking scene of just Saphar just hey, Joey. Jesus, man.
And then the final shot of the scene is the pilot looking down at his other hand. You know,
Just
and wondering
his options.
Wondering if it's worth it to go back.
It's too late now. You already made the really elaborately long oath, and we had 10 cups of coffee while you were doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Like a serious tour. If Lady Serena Thunderbolt is on the ship, he'll also we don't have to go into it, but he'll also tell the truth of what they're getting into. And also he will just chastise her a little bit. It's like, why didn't you win 10 years ago? You didn't need me to win that fight.
If any night house gained any superiority, all the others would just ally against it and beat it back down. But then they wouldn't finish it off. And so it was just a never-ending conflict.
And yet I showed up, and within less than a day, multiple houses were entirely wiped out. This wasn't a game about skill or honor. This was a game of politics. And how did you not figure that out? And basically, just listen. If you're going to be the ruler of a night world or of any world, these are the things you need to know. So
to be fair, your promise of a bombardment was breaking the rules quite a lot. And I don't know how you convinced the game master to accept such a thing, but...
Oh, I just told him that I was going to make things get more exciting. It was very simple. I didn't even have to make a roll for it. I just kind of said I was going to do something silly, and he just went with it.
I just imagine you're lucky that this is a private chat in some other room, because otherwise Gizmek would be making all sorts of shit up.
Well, she curtsies and says, sometimes it takes an outsider to see the right path. We are all stuck in our ways and our honor and our modes of combat.
And that's when he just echoes the words of what Sergeant Brom told him about adaptation in times of strife, especially with the cicatrix.
Well, in a way, it was an adaptation in that we had to keep the morale high of the people of our system, even if we were alone in the dark for many years.
Well, this conversation's going in circles.
Yes.
I've told you what you needed to know. And at that point he just he goes back to the bridge, and if there are a few other people that he wants to talk to, but he'd rather them approach him for a conversation.
Yeah, and she'll she'll bow with courtesy as you leave. She's still honor bound to do all those things. So you could tell that she's disappointed that you took off in the night that one night, though.
I mean,
she thought that she had you, in her quote unquote custody, and then you were just
custody.
through a wall.
I have a very important question about that. Did Holtz pull out?
We're not going into any details about any of that stuff in this game. PG-13.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kiss and tell.
Do I have to beat someone up over trying to make this R18?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already skirting the line, so let's not.
Okay, so we have some downtime for everybody. So let's start with the Eldar, Chrono. What downtime would Saphar Shaitaneese like to do?
I definitely take a crack, start up again on translating that book, get a little bit of headway into that, but then get distracted because I remember there's a fucking knight on the ship and I want to see it. I want to poke around at it.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll, difficulty 3.
Where is? There we go. Did I roll that properly?
Sick, you did it. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Okay, so you start getting through the depths of the ship. This pilot that Holtz has put on the payroll has moved his knight and attendants out of the Thunderbolt's drop fortress into its own bay in the cargo hold. It is guarded, of course, but you managed to easily slip past. Human guards are nothing to you.
Yeah.
You make a sound happen down a corridor. Guard goes to investigate. You go through door. Easy peasy. The door is locked with a very, fancy, threaded, very fancy computer lock. But that's nothing to a Harlequin. You just pop right through that shit. No problem.
Yeah. Am I gonna have to use any haywire technology, or can I just?
You don't even have to. You just use that monofilament technology that you have. You just put it in there and just it goes into the wires and cuts the right wire automatically.
Yeah.
And the door just hisses open, and then the monofilament even fixes the wire as you pass through, and the door closes behind you.
Oh god, yeah, that makes sense. That would be something they'd have. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in this bay, and all the lights are off. But you can feel the pressure of this technology.
I have dark vision.
I don't know if you have actual dark vision. I don't think
that
so.
Dark Eldar are supposed to have dark vision.
That's a joke, because in D&D, people who play elves will always at any given time remind you that they have dark vision, and they'll be annoying about it.
Right. Yeah. In this case, I don't believe elves actually have dark vision innately, and I don't think you have
in 40K. No, you don't.
Yeah, I don't think you have dark vision goggles on you as a piece of gear. But
no.
So the bay is pitch black, but there's something about the night that presses on your mind. The technology is pressing on you. There's a pressure that comes from even being in the same room as it.
Yeah. Is it a feeling almost I'm being watched almost?
It's just a feeling that you're being chased by a predator.
Oh god. Okay, so
and you've had the same, and
standing up.
Yeah, and you've had the same feeling before, which is when you were in that one gigantic Mechanicus Bay, and there was the Night Titan on the wall.
Yeah.
But even though this is not a Titan, this is just a normal Knight. The fact that it's not in pieces on the wall probably improves that pressure, knowing that it's there. And you manage to find an electric box on the wall, and you flip and you snap it, and then all the lights come on, and then you see it, and it kind of distorts your vision a little when you're looking at it, because it's just terrifying. It's everything that an Eldar hates personified into a mechanical beast of pure destruction. It has it's got a sword that's literally 3 times the length of your body. Every blade on the chainsaw is about the size of your arm.
Oh
god. And it's got a weapon on the other arm. It's got a rapid fire, like a minigun, and the barrels are larger than your whole body.
Ooh.
And you look next to it, and they have there's an ammo loading box, and you can see the ammo, and the ammo is the size of your head. And it's thousands of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then, accompanying this massive beast on the sides are the 2 armatures, which are miniature knights, quote unquote, but they're still like 4 or 5 times your height. And they also have monstrous chain blades and cannons that you recognize what a melta looks like. Like that's like the heat of the sun is coming out of the other end of that.
Yeah.
And it's a sobering sight. And you're there by yourself, and it's silent, right?
Yeah.
Even you walking around, even your breathing is like quiet. I think that not due to you, but just due to like the vibrations of the ship, like a nut that's been sitting on top of the night, like falls to the floor, and it takes like minutes for it to fall all the way from the top to the bottom, and you can like see it, and it hits the ground and like ping, like rings out through the entire docking bay, and something about that probably freaks you out. I'm gonna make you make a test.
Yeah. Let me see. What should I?
I'm gonna figure out what's a good test for that. It's gonna be like a mental test. So it's gonna be like give me a not like
Survival to see if my fight or flight kicks in.
I think it's supposed to be conviction or resolve for like not being scared by stuff.
yeah, I think it's resolve. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's resolve.
Yeah. So give me a resolve test, difficulty 3.
Where is resolve on this?
It's in
under
combat.
combat on the right. Yeah.
Under
under
mutations,
mutation.
which is weird why it's under mutations. Don't ask.
Okay, so resolve roll fear or terror?
Fear.
Fear, yeah. And what difficulty?
3.
3, okay. Oh.
Yeah, so you almost beat it.
It's like when I hear the nut fall and hit the ground, I flinch really hard and almost leave. A big part of the feeling of being in this room is, have you ever been in front of, like, you're in like one of those creepy old houses or like a haunted house, and they have a painting on the wall that kind of looks like its eyes are following you? It's just like a really it's like being in front of a really unsettling painting, and you sort of move to the side back and forth, and it has that optical illusion of the eyes are almost following you, and you don't know if it's gonna like scream at you or something.
Yeah, so you're in your own head right now. You're trying to push through this terror that this machine puts on you, and by doing so, you miss someone coming up behind you.
Oh God!
And you feel a similar hand on your shoulder to what you were giving to that pilot before. And you quickly snap your head back, and it's that guy. It's the pilot.
See,
it's Sir whoever his name is, which I'll have to look
Guy Chevalier.
And he's giving you like a knowing smile.
Oh, dick.
And he says, "It's terrifying, isn't it?"
I mean, it's not that. Like, I'm trying and failing to keep my cool here and like put up a front, but it's not that impressive. I've seen the Wraith Lords back on the craft world. But I'll admit it's certainly a piece of hardware, I say as I dab the sweat from my forehead.
I'd be careful around this machine if I were you, elf. And he says elf with like a, cut tone.
Elf.
And he says, I may not know what that beast down in the cargo hold is, but I know what you are.
Wait, beast down on the cargo hold. Gizmek?
Yeah, that's what he's referring to.
Oh, I see.
But I know what you are. You have no mercy for the likes of us.
At this point, Saphar is a bit of an airhead, but he's not stupid. It's clear this is sort of a standoff, and he knows he's on the back foot, socially speaking. So he sort of looks the man dead in the eye, and he's like, "Do you mean to imply you have mercy for your own kind? I was on the planet." sort of looking him dead in the eyes and trying to regain his composure. Well, my composure.
Yeah, it takes it like knocks a little bit of wind out of his like tirade that he's about to unleash on.
Tirade.
But he has like he's got like some sort of like hatred for you in his eyes. You can see it. And he says, "At least we don't appear in the middle of the night and steal a man's brother away to who God knows where." He's just like staring at you.
Oh, so it's personal. No.
And he says, "You may be dressed differently." But he like gives you like a good sniff.
Oh.
He says, "But you smell the same."
It's one thing Eldar do often complain about of humans is the smell. Oh, so
Yeah.
I do like pointedly say, I could say the same for you, Monkai. It's the first time I've used that word in the campaign.
Yeah, like he didn't expect you to like come back on him on this.
With slur.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to like roll his conviction, or he might like do something untoward.
Like I'm sort, because here's the thing, I'm sort of, I know that this guy's a little bit afraid of me, so I am trying to leverage that, but at the same time I don't want to come off as immediately hostile. So, you know, looking at him sort of wide-eyed in the dark and giving him sort of the toothy smile as I say, Monkai, giving that kind of breathy, long inflection that I've heard from Drukhari before. Like, I'm putting on the Drukhari accent, even though that's not me.
Yeah, so
Because we have a Drukhari on the ship.
Yeah.
yeah. So
In case anyone
he doesn't pass his conviction because I was getting a difficulty. Well, I was gonna give him a difficulty 3, but because you said Monkai in like a Drukhari way, like that increases the difficulty because that's what his hatred is of, not of you, but of Drukhari.
Oh,
So he's gonna fail his conviction, and so he's gonna like raise like a las pistol at you.
Oh.
He's not gonna shoot it. He's just gonna raise it at you. And he's going to say, "Now, I've promised your captain that I wouldn't do anything untoward to the other people on his payroll." And he says people like sarcastically.
People, the giant air quotes. People.
Yeah. "But if you come near my gear or my warden again, you will not be leaving next time."
I was about to call his bluff. Like when he said, "I promised the captain I wouldn't," I was gonna cut in, "would not" or "cannot," and just sort of start leaning forward.
Do you want to do that?
Like I was about to pull a "would not" or "could not" earlier. When he said, "At least we don't appear in the middle of the night and steal people's brothers." Like, do you not, or can you people not? Like you would, you're just not capable. So
Are
yeah,
you going to say that to him?
I am going to say that to him with a gun in my face. Yes, like
Okay.
it's
So proud.
One thing to keep in mind about Saphar is he's not a hater of humans. Like there's a lot of Eldar who openly hate humans. He doesn't, but at the same time, he does not view them as inherent equals. And I feel like that might have been not expressed enough in this campaign. He does view humans as, while having potential as a species, inferior to himself on an individual level.
Okay. So what's your defense, Chrono?
I think I've made a mistake. My defense is 2.
Yeah, because he rolled his conviction and he didn't roll high enough, so he's going to be really mad at you.
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
get shot.
with how
It's
mad
okay,
he is,
here's the
maybe
thing.
give him like a -1 to weapon skill or fucking ballistic skill.
I mean, it is a las pistol, so it's not like the most scary gun in the world, but still.
Anything is scary when it's touching your forehead.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find like a correct like bestiary to like roll on real quick. I think this
One thing to keep
probably
in mind is I grew up in like the hood, so I know those situations where you're like, oh, I fucked up, I'm about to get hurt.
What are you trying to find?
I found a good person to shoot, basically.
Person to shoot.
Yeah. So what's your defense?
2, he said.
2? Oh boy.
I'm gonna get shot.
You do get shot.
Barely.
Is that a deep? Because here's the thing: this is close enough where there's no possibility of dodging. Like if this is essentially considered point blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not dodging this.
Yeah. So you're gonna take 8 damage.
Where does he shoot me?
Where?
Yeah, where?
Well, with only 8 damage and not like a crit damage or something, it's just gonna be like in the body.
How much health do I have?
Let's see.
And you also have to make sure that you
You have like defense and stuff to subtract the damage. So
yeah.
I know, but what's my total health is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm pulling up your sheet right now to help you with
because
that.
I can't find it.
Yeah, so your resilience is 7, so you're gonna reduce the damage by 7. So you're only gonna take 1.
Oh.
You're gonna take 1 more because it's rapid fire and you're so close.
Yeah.
So you'll take 2 damage. So take 2 wounds. You have 7 wounds total. So put 2 next to the 7.
Yeah.
2 next to the 7. So I have 5 health left.
Yeah, you got 5 health left.
We might have to just go back to the old wounded rule where you have a -1 to everything.
Yeah, you're gonna have a minus. Yeah, you're gonna be hurting right now. So you're gonna be -1. Plus 1 difficulty level to everything right now.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I'm like, that seems like way too little damage for a point blank shot.
Well, it is a las gun, and you have armor on.
Okay, good point.
Yeah,
I'm
just saying.
And you're also fairly tough. You know, you got a good defense. So
good point.
Yeah, so you're a little bit like chunkier for an Eldar and less dodgy.
Yeah, because Ranger, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you changed your sheet yet. I didn't update on mine, but
I haven't.
Got 2 wounds there. See that on the combat tab?
Okay. Where do I add that to on my sheet?
So you see on the top, there's like different tabs.
Yeah, effects.
Go to the combat tab. In the middle, there's a section called injuries, and then there's a section called wounds in the middle there.
You can also roll determination.
And that's oh yeah, you could convert that to shock if you wanted to. Yeah, so you could roll determination and reduce that damage. I forgot about that.
Here, frenzied, hindered, on fire, pinned, poisoned, prone.
Go to.
You're under effects. You go to combat, which is like. You see where it says stats, combat talents?
Oh, yes.
You can roll determination to reduce the damage and convert it to shock.
I'm not gonna.
No.
Okay.
I feel like that would just be silly to reduce my damage even further. Like I shouldn't. I know I'm.
No, I mean, it makes sense. Like he's not aiming like a gigantic gun at you. Like this is a tiny gun. You know, you're an armored warrior. You know, roll determination. You still might have a wound left over, and shock is difficult to get rid of too, and shock has its own problems. So that's
okay. So roll determination. What?
That's your toughness bonus -1.
No, you can see it. You can see it at the top of the injury section in the middle there of your character sheet.
Okay.
For me, it is flat out toughness for some reason.
So toughness bonus -1, like that.
Yeah. So you actually reduce it to 0.
Okay,
yeah, so you don't take any wounds, but you will take 2 shock. The shock is over here on the left.
I see. Well, what does shock do exactly?
It's like mental damage.
So basically, you can have shock up to your up to a cap, which I think should already be like automatically added. And once you hit that cap, every wound you've dealt is a mortal wound, which means you can't turn it into shock. It's literally like it's extra damage resistance essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an
and
extra damage. It's an extra damage pool that I can hit with like mental effects as well.
also, once your shock is maxed out, you become tired or something, and then every point of shock after that becomes mortal wounds, I think.
I see.
Yeah, you start taking like
can I take?
actual damage. 5.
5. I just saw it. Yeah. Okay, so getting hit, like what I imagine is he's aiming this las pistol at my head, and I'm taunting him, knowing he's not going to shoot me, essentially calling his bluff. And all of a sudden, he lets go of the pistol. It drops out of his hand. He grabs it with his other hand in midair at like body range, at like they get right around like sternum range, and just fires off a shot. It knocks the fucking wind out of me, and I stagger backward, clutching my sternum, feeling the skin on my hand burn by touching the las wound. I look up at him with wide eyes and mouth slightly agape, just like, "What? You shot me!"
He says, "I'll do it again. You don't get the hell out of here."
I'm considering retaliating. Like, here's the thing.
That would be a thing.
You took, I'm going to take a moment to steady myself with my feet, just sort of shake my head off a little bit. That oath you took, I was a little bit fuzzy on it. I was on 6 cups of coffee at the point. You promised not to harm any of us. Is that correct?
That wasn't part of the oath. That was a separate deal. The oath would never protect a knife eater such as yourself.
Do I have any bladed weapons on me?
You have whatever you think you have. So you probably have your shuriken pistol. You probably have your knife.
I would. Okay.
You probably don't have your long rifle, but
no,
that's up to you.
Okay, I have the knife, and I'm gonna give him sort of the most. I'm gonna call on some lessons from dear old mom and give him the most like sinister, evil smile I can, right as the word knife ear leaves his lips, and just say, "A cute choice of words." And immediately I'm gonna pull out the. Can I throw the knife?
If you want, yeah.
I am going to take it, hold it by the blade, and I'm not trying to instigate a full fight here. I'm going to just try and take a stab at him and then run.
Well, if you take a stab at him, he'll get another opportunity to shoot you.
Okay.
Because we're doing like initiative order back and forth. So basically, I'm giving you the opportunity to do an action, and then he'll have an opportunity to do an action.
I do think that he does have like lower shooting stuff in melee range because
that's not his. It's not his combat forte. Yeah.
This is you don't have to worry about this is just completely narrative combat.
Yeah, we don't need to follow the rules by just.
But we're doing initiative back and forth, right? So he did an action. You have a chance to do something. He's gonna have a chance to do something.
Okay, then in that case, I'm not gonna throw the knife. I'm gonna spring at him with it. Cute choice of words. I'm gonna spring at him with the knife.
Sure. Yeah. Give me a weapon skill. So you can literally just click the knife button in your war gear.
Yeah, I got the knife.
Yeah, and his defense is I closed the sheet because I thought that would be it. But let's see here. His defense is 2 as well.
Great.
Okay. So how do I roll it?
You just
so just click the knife and then under difficulty number put 2.
Yeah, you might get a +1 because you are technically charging, but yeah.
You still need to be in the combat tab if you're not already.
I'm not sure why it says you're getting +2 difficulty number to all tests for some reason. Let me check your effects.
Difficulty number 2, right?
Yeah, it should be difficulty 2.
Yeah, it corrects it to 4 automatically for some reason.
Just set it to 0. Set it to 0 and it'll automatically be 2.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Thanks.
I'm not sure why that's happening. It must something to do with your you've got like an intense emotion passive effect, and I'm not sure.
Oh,
that's true.
What that is?
Yeah.
It's fear. Fear is doing that. Fear and injured.
I think the intense emotion is a vulnerability to things like fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can get a trait.
But that should only be to resolve this. And you don't have any wounds.
Just the place is 0 so that it's automatically 2 and then roll. Or we'll just count everything normally.
Oh, wrath complication, something on 3 straight failures.
You might want to re-roll that.
You can't re-roll. You can't re-roll the complication. So we'll roll the complication.
Right
okay.
click on it and then.
So that doesn't make
a lot of ammo.
Right, that doesn't make sense for a knife. Okay.
Yeah.
You can still re-roll the roll. So complication. Apologies.
So you've got a firm like counter hatred for this guy, which is occurring, and so you're seeing red, and you go to swing at this guy with your knife, and he screams a little bit and ducks under it. You put too much of your weight forward, and you end up like basically collapsing over a bunch of boxes of like gear and wrenches and stuff.
Going so bad.
And so there's this loud like metal crash as you very undexterously collapse to the ground, covered in like these like mechanics boxes and wrenches and tools and stuff. Probably like one of the ammo casings for that minigun like falls on you as well, so you're like covered in bullets. Yeah. So the knight is going to walk up to you, and he's going to put his gun up to your head basically. And Holtz is going to spend a wrath point, and the door is going to open to the bay, and Holtz is going to be standing there. And the knight will like look up at him and say, "Thank God you're here. This alien was spying in my cargo hold."
Spying? You're the interloper. I was here first.
Silence. Holtz kind of steps into the cargo bay. I heard there was a disturbance on my cargo bay, which you are both using for my benefit.
Wax.
I understand that things might be difficult for the both of you, being in an unfamiliar environment. But so long as you are on my ship, you will follow my rules. That includes decorum and courtesy to your fellow crew member. You do not have to respect each other for their species. I don't care about that. But any disputes on my ship will be settled by me. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. And he like puts the pistol back in his holster. He doesn't offer to help Chrono up in any way. He just like steps back.
I wouldn't take that offer anyway. Like I as discreetly as possible hide the knife back within my cloak, as to try and not show that I was holding it, that I was brandishing it to Holtz. Like I
okay.
Didn't know it.
Give me a opposed stealth versus God, what's the perception in this game?
Deception.
Awareness. Awareness is probably the best one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're supposed to use athletics or stealth for sleight of hand, but it's whatever.
So
yeah, we'll use stealth, and we'll use awareness, like opposed roll. So difficulty number 0 for both of you, and then we'll see who gets the highest roll or whatever.
Yeah, there's no
way else is gonna be that, but we'll see.
It needs a DN1. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, it's hard to tell. I will say it's hard to tell if Holtz doesn't care or doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a very loud metallic, crashing sound as Chrono gets to his feet and all the stuff like comes off of him, basically.
Yeah.
You're both cleaning that up, by the way. And I leave.
Oh, are him and I alone again?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, there's a guard that's watching both of you.
I
And he
see.
definitely has a box radio straight to me.
He's just like leaning into his shoulder, holding it, ready to call in a disturbance.
Yeah.
It's I'm not gonna.
Gizmek, did you want to do that thing now, or
Yeah.
or yeah? Okay, so we're gonna pop a wrath for Gizmek as
Wait,
well, and something happens for that.
I have a parting
Yeah,
word.
go ahead.
Parting word. I'm not going to be cleaning that up. I'm not going to be bothering to pick it up. I dust myself off, regain my composure a little bit. Look at the guy, I give him sort of a fake impressed look. You are quite the hand-to-hand combatant. Would only your brother was so quick. And then I bound away as quickly as possible.
He's gonna come murder you in your sleep. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
probably.
as you bound away,
my
hold the fuck up.
Sorry.
Biscuit's turn.
As you bound away, you try and head out one of the doors that Holtz didn't go out of. And as it opens, you're like just looking back at him to give like a little bleh kind of thing. And you turn around and he runs square into Gizmek holding an ice cream cone.
Fuck. I cannot get what I'm just thinking of, like, when do I get a fucking break today?
Gizmek looks down at you, looks into the cargo bay that he's been working in on and off, then looks down at you again and he's just like, "You're still cleaning that up."
I'm just like, through my teeth, later. I just sort of like skulk away. My hasty escape route.
You just feel feel Gizmek's eyes boring into the back of you as you leave.
Yeah. No, it's like, what's it called? I swish my cloak and try to walk away with it flowing behind me. But then the second I'm down the hall out of everyone's line of sight, I just start run crying. Just like my dramatic moment.
All of these events make what I wanted. All of these
just run crying.
Yeah. All of these events make that what I wanted to do potentially even more funnier.
Oh god. Do it. Whatever it is, do it.
Right.
And Gizmek, I think you have, because you were like coming to this bay to like check on the repairs or whatever. You have some assistants with you that are like other men.
I have Gizmo with
me. I think you have like human assistants with you this time, and they're like dressed in like an orky like uniform because they're still doing like the combat.
They saw that weird ass cult that
thing.
Gizmek doesn't even get.
Yeah. They're doing the cult thing, and they're like wearing like orky stuff, and like the knight just like shakes his head.
God. What fucking house did I step onto?
And they go and they start cleaning up the huge mess that Chrono left behind.
Yeah. He once again starts examining his other hand and weighing his options.
Yeah.
Just considering it.
Yeah, just considering it. Yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
That one place I didn't think it was going to go to, but okay.
Yeah,
I think
it's because I kept escalating it.
You guys are like extra aggressive today. I don't know what it is.
It's because it's been so long. I think that's what it is.
We have a lot of pent up energy, so we want some aggressive role play.
The only person who could be aggressive on the ship and get away with it is Holtz, and maybe Gizmek.
Oh god.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't fucking work. I ended up looking like an ass.
We have a lot of bloodlust from not playing in a while.
All right, Miras, what NPC do you have like a horrible fascination with today?
Also, I want to say fucking, goddamn. Funny thing is that the guy might have a chance to get his arm back because of the psycho bullshit I'll pick up once we tear up.
That'd be
Anyways, hey Saphar, guess who's in your nest?
Oh god.
When you get back.
When I get back,
Yeah.
I just draw back the curtain, and I'm just sort of close my eyes, just like aggressively close the curtain again.
Trying to
open
wipe
it,
the
and you
tears out, can barely see through the tears.
barely see through the tears. Like I'm crying. I'm covered in gunpowder and soot. Like I open the curtain, see you there, close it, then open it again just to see that you're still in fact there.
Also, he's holding the book and he has reading glasses with.
Like is it like 3 lenses?
Yeah. Hello, Saphar.
I'm just looking at you, just like look, like the fucking principal, Principal Skinner, the pathetic pose,
Maybe.
just like looking down at you, and just like, yes. Mhm.
I was going to ask if you don't mind me attempting to help you out with this. Although my understanding of the Eldari language is still much lesser than yours, of course.
Saphar is thoroughly cowed at this point, so he's just like, yeah, okay, just agreeing. He's like, yeah, okay, and I just sort of slide in.
So yeah.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to do, Miras?
Sator wants to basically attempt to help out Saphar with translating the book, even though he's not an Eldar, so it's going to be a pain in the ass for him. But he might also learn how to speak Eldar better through this, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so,
so basically, he's just like, here, native Spanish speaker. I am an English guy from like Boston. Let me help you translate this deep old Spanish text with you.
This old Spanish text.
It's mostly initially Sator trying to fucking understand Eldar and potentially translate this too, which is going to be one
so
harder.
your goal is to like somewhat learn some Eldar, basically. Is your goal.
Sator already knows Drukhari, so
Yeah, and is Saphar like receptive to helping Sator learn Eldar through this manual, through this like very dry book? Or is Saphar sort of not into it right now, you know?
Admittedly, Saphar would go for it because he has nothing else going on and wants to take his mind off the very embarrassing situation that just happened. Like, yeah it's something else to do.
Okay.
My perception of Eldar languages is the difference between them would be like audible, but at the same time a little bit superficial. Like, let's say Ancient Eldari is like Latin, and then Craftworlder Eldari is like Italian. Drukhari would be like Spanish, and then maybe Exodites speak like French Rivieran dialect French.
All I know about Drukhari being different is that it has like 50 ways of saying torture and terror.
Yeah, it's kind of like how there's 50 different ways to say spaghetti in Italian. You have words for what you know.
There's 50 different words for fear and terror, because there's 50 different types of fear and terror. Okay, cool.
I was going to make the joke halfway through this, it turns into a therapy session.
So, Saphar, why don't you make me a scholar test with +2 from Sator's help? He doesn't help with like the text directly, but he might, like, as you read it out loud, like he might be like helping you like put puzzle pieces together, right? So he might be helping you in that way.
So then, what's my base difficulty number?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be 0, and then based on how many successes you get, how much extra information you'll get. I think.
And bonus 2, right?
Yeah, and then +2 to your number of dice.
How's this? Oh fuck.
The wrath point if you want to.
Could I?
Well, that was only 6, so you need to do 2 more dice.
Oh, I see.
So
I
just
put it to
do
0 and
so just do /roll 2d6.
okay.
Or /R to D6.
Yeah.
And you can also reroll failures if you really want to.
It's not letting me. I do /R 2d6. Oh, there we go.
There.
Okay, cool.
We'll take the first one. Or
We'll take yours. So you got a 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So you didn't get any bonuses on that. So you just got 1 success. So you're just like really distracted. Yeah.
I'm fucking out of it right now.
So
Like,
you're reading some passage and it doesn't seem to really be helpful in any way. It's like extremely dry. It's like, the process by which this like one alien species makes its foodstuffs or something.
Oh god.
And it's just like, oh my god. Like, who could possibly find this interesting? Sator, can you give me a scholar test as well?
Yeah.
Difficulty, let's say 5?
Let me make sure that nothing is changed. Okay, DN base is 3. Can I just switch it to 5? Yes, I have 7 dice, 1 wrath.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You got
Yeah.
exactly 5. Perfect. Okay, so Saphar is just like droning on and on.
Oh yeah, one thing before this. I'm pretty sure that we are supposed to have a glory from the shift on Saphar's stealth roll.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And also mark 1 glory in the thingy if you have it open. Anyways.
Boop.
Yep.
Okay. What should happen? Yes. Okay. So Saphar is just like droning on and on about this stupid thing, and like he seems to be like even more disconnected than usual because it's just so boring. But Sator, you pick out. There's like a part of that text that like Saphar just sort of just like goes right over it, but you like tell him to go back and test and like go over it again. And it talks about how the food is like put out, into the sun, and then, a chant is made, and the god of the sun will, cook the foodstuffs and it gives you like a some sort of time, but like it doesn't really translate very well, and like you go back and forth on it, and it's just it's like a rough translation of like faster than a fly's lifetime or something in Eldar, and like that doesn't make any sense to you. Like, why would chanting something like make the food cook faster outside on a rock,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something about that passage like sticks with you. And then also let's start like a clock for Sator to learn Eldar, and it'll have like 12 notches on it, and you've done 1 notch.
Nice. So I'll put that as the first thing in notes because
Yeah.
or I'll place it in objective. So 1 out of how many?
12.
12. Nice.
What exactly is Sator's motivation for learning Eldar?
He just likes to know stuff.
I see. No, because like I was wondering if there was a specific motivation and he was open with it to Sator. Sator may be not Sator. Fucking Saphar may be more open to either helping him further or fucking with him.
Yeah.
Depending.
Sator is always weirdly curious about everything. Pretty much.
Do you want to do this in character? Like after you go over that, after you have like a book reading session or whatever, what does Saphar say to Sator to like ask him about it?
Yeah, so Saphar would ask, he's like, tell me, why is it again you're so committed to learning a language that has essentially no bearing on your life? Like, this comes across as a little rude.
Well, any understanding of Eldar could further mean finding something to aid Ira first. And second, with how many of you seem to keep appearing, why should I not attempt to make you feel better by understanding your own language?
I feel like that would, in this situation, I feel like that would be really nice, but and this is coming across a little bit patronizing. Saphar's done with humans for today. I've had enough human for today.
Honestly,
look,
the funny
he's
thing
not
is,
he's not a straight up human. He's a fucking mutant.
yeah. And also,
yeah.
if you fucking started being talking about not liking humans, Sator would be like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, bonding.
Because he like also generally doesn't like the Imperium's most of the Imperium's civilians in general, because they are very anti-mutants and all of that.
Good point.
If
he
anything,
definitely has that navigator superiority complex going on.
Yeah. And the only people who he might randomly enjoy having a beer with, funnily enough, would probably be like in an underhive or some shit, because they don't give a shit if you're a mutant or not.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah.
No, but it's not that deep. It's not like the inherent racism, because like one thing to keep in mind about Saphar is, while yes, he has a lot of that arrogance and condescension towards humans, he's also seen a lot of the worst there is to offer of his own species. And as such, he's a little bit more cognizant of the individuality of it all.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a hardcore speciesism sort of thing. But like he's sort of like rubbing one temple and just being like, fuck it, all right. Just, all right, if you insist. And then he helps him a little bit with Eldari. Like when he's aware of that the point of this is more Sator learning Eldari as opposed to helping him translate the book, he starts like trying to run through a few basic phrases with him.
I honestly imagine like
biblioteca.
God damn it. I honestly imagine, if anything, that teaching Sator how to read Eldari would be more interesting than the actual contents of the bloody book.
Yeah, it would be,
Probably. Meanwhile, Sator also finds the fucking book interesting to some extent.
Nerd.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's Sator's downtime activity. Let's move on to Holtz. What's Holtz up to in this transit?
So now that Gizmek is occupied with night scrap for his own personal project, Holtz is actually going to make his way down to the engine room for the first time in a while and check on Bitbug in the warp core, since we have a fancy warp core. And mostly just to see like how it's holding up and like if there's any crazy things happening down there.
Yeah, you probably come down during like a giant retrofitting ceremony. There's lots of tech priests lined up, swaying to the music of Bitbug's binary, and you come stepping into the bay in front of the giant warp core that's like humming in the background, with its like large pink crystal shoved within. And Bitbug finishes the ceremony, opens his eyes and sees you, and then lets out like a little like blast of binary, and all the tech priests are just like scatter in every direction. And he comes like walking down the stairway down to the pit that you're standing in, and gives you a low bow and says, "My liege, it has been a while since you have stepped this far down into the ship. How can I help you today?"
I apologize for not coming down sooner, but given the experimental nature of the warp core, I figured it was better to isolate as many people as possible from it, including myself. I trust that there's been no complications to speak of as of yet.
He says, "We do not detect any radiation exiting the piece, at least in any of the spectra that our bodies are capable of processing. The warp core itself," he tries to think of the way to explain it, "is undergoing more stress than usual and requiring retrofit significantly more often. Something about the crystal is vibrating other parts of the divine machinery."
Has this been happening since installation, or did this start recently?
It appears to be happening more and more over time.
See.
Now and then there'll be a large shudder of vibration, and several components near the piece will fail, and we have to repair them. But we have plenty of spare repair parts from our docking at Gilneas, and it gives us something to do at least. Otherwise, we're idle hands and all that.
I would like a report on when these large shudders have occurred. I'll have some calculus arrays go over that data and see if there's any correlation.
Yeah. So he nods, and he goes to go grab a data pad. When the whole warp core sort of vibrates very suddenly, and alarm klaxons start going off in the bay, and tech priests come out of their alcoves and swarm over the warp core. Bitbug sort of grabs you by the shoulder and tries to take you out of the room. He says, It's not safe in here when this happens. But it's happening more and more."
I'll need that data, engines here.
Of course. And he hands you a data pad, and he says, "It should all be on here, but I have to go back and fix that."
Yeah.
And you haven't noticed a shuddering in the rest of the ship at all. The first time you noticed this is when you were actually in the engine room. And it was just like the engine block that was vibrating like mad.
Yeah, no, Holtz is very interested in why this seems to be only happening in specifically the warp core room.
Yeah, I mean, Bitbug says that the vibration is coming from the crystal.
Yeah. That in and of itself is kind of expected, because that's the only anomalous thing that we have.
Right.
But Holtz does a few experiments to see how far the shuddering goes, because normally if the warp core shudders, the ship itself would have just by physics would have some reverberations all the way up at the bridge, so he'd notice. Right.
Yeah, if you cross-reference the dates in this pad with all the goings on in the engine room, the shakes sort of started happening a few months after you guys went to Forge World Realness, and they've been increasing in frequency since then.
Is that the first planet we visited, or is that the
second one, the Blackstone one?
Yeah. Okay, so that is what Holtz's first theory was, that the xenotech heresy is probably somehow affecting this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been increasing rapidly since then, and very recently it's been like very strong, very, very strong actually in the last couple of weeks.
Okay. I'll still run it through like calculus arrays and have like some cogitators like cogitate over it. But like that is Holtz's working theory. And
do you want to like try to like, I don't know, set these brains, these like pickled brains to what kind of pattern are you looking for on the cognitators? Like nearby star signatures, like warp signatures, like what are you looking for?
So what little experience he has with like Necron technology, and like Blackstone, like shenaniganry, he's probably like looking for like, especially since like they were like capable of traveling like either like not necessarily like warp travel, because he doesn't understand how the what is it, how the xenotech works, but like he'd probably be looking for like maybe a hole in the warp.
Okay, so he'll try to like find like a because like the warp sensors of the ship are you know, they're not working really. They only like see like slightly in front, and that's when Sator like, you know, connects his vision to the sensors or whatever.
Yeah.
So so you don't have a ton of that data, but you do have a ton of like star data. And so I want you to make me a scholar test.
This is something that he's going to be like doing like over the background. Like even when he's like off the ship, this is something that he's just going to have the ship like set
It'll
to.
be difficulty 5 to see this pattern, I think, scholar.
All right. I don't think I have. I literally need like a 6 and like everything to succeed. Is it alright if I spend the wrath? Like, is anyone going to say like no if I spend the wrath on that?
There's a glory in the pool.
Glory, because
Yeah,
you get
glory. I mean, yeah.
You get a +1 with the glory.
So I'll try it with the glory. See if that does anything.
I love how when you
close. Do I want to spend? I mean, yeah, I might as well spend the wrath to reroll.
It's only one dice though.
Yeah, but like
4 plus.
Yeah. Ooh.
Lucky. I like how when you move something in Foundry, it slowly moves over to where you placed it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's tough to like match the dates of like Bitbug's reports to the star chart data, because you know the warp time fuckiness stuff. And so you're not able to find like any like correlation between anything happening like outside the ship and these shakes, especially the most recent one. Like it seems to have come out of nowhere. Usually they don't happen while you're traveling, but these are happening while you're traveling.
I mean, Holtz still has like the cogitators like thinking about it.
Right.
Like that's just something he's just gonna have the ship like set to do. So,
sure.
Like if he doesn't find it now, he'll find it eventually, hopefully.
Okay. So that's a thing to worry about, and then we'll go down to Trisky. What's Gizmek up to this travel?
Well, on account of his Death Dread getting absolutely and utterly crumped, he is obviously going back to focusing on getting something up and running. But this time he's like, all right, if that got crumbed that quickly, it was obviously too small. I need to build bigger.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a Mega Death Dread, or like bordering on like a Morkanaut kind of thing.
Yeah, you could start working on a Morkanaut / Gorkanaut. Give me a tech test, and then we'll add up the successes to like a big pool. I haven't decided how big the pool will be for something like that, but give yourself a normal, the normal Orky bonus, and give yourself another +2 for all that extra night scrap you have.
All right, give me a second to remember bonus,
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of dice.
plus double rank bonus dice on tech tests to fix any orc things. So that's pretty sure my tech rank.
Like +6.
Yeah.
These are rank 3.
Oh, we're rank 3?
It should be.
Okay. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure that we aren't yet, but we should be from the XP we would get from this planet, because we are at 270 total.
Oh yeah, just do rank 2 for now.
Yeah.
At the end of this, you'll be rank 3, I think. Because
Right.
in the end of the story.
There's no wrath die on this per se, right?
There is, because there could be complications or crits or stuff.
All right, let's see. Difficulty number. I'm just going right. Yeah, it is 0.
Yeah.
Fuck it. DN1.
I mean, like 1. Yeah.
All right.
Wait,
You-
8
successes. Okay, so put down.
You can go for more if you really want.
Yeah, if you wanted to drop your last wrath, you could go for more. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not expecting to do much else this session. Are we going to reset wrath next session?
Probably, but we're still gonna go for like another hour and a half. So we're only like halfway through.
I don't really need to. I'll start off slow.
Right. So eight successes on that pool. It's probably going to be like 60 or something total to finish that.
All right, so I'll jot that down.
Yeah. So what does this look like? What's the montage of making the Gorkanaut look like?
I mean, I have a lot of night-based parts to use, so it's obviously
Right.
going to have some semblance of that somewhere in it. But I am also an orc, so I'm going to slap even more scrap panels and things on top of it everywhere and paint it red.
Incredible.
It always has to be red. Gizmek is
so-
basically a glorified speed freak in some ways.
Yeah. Do tech priests just work faster when they're around you because they wear red robes?
Yes.
I would imagine.
So you've got this like massive scaffold of this machine that you're making, and you have quite a large pit crew of not only your goblin, but also a bunch of men dressed as goblins, and larger men dressed as orcs, and at some point you're like up on the scaffold working, and you look down and you see like a circle of these men around your dread, and they're doing like a tribal like orc dance around it.
Oi, Giz, what's up with your ritualistic bullshit? Get back to work!
And they start doing like orky like work songs while they're working on the base of this scaffold.
Yeah, just like sea shanty kind of shit, basically. Gizmek
That
would
one
probably
is
join
known
in.
because orc freebooters do have their own sea shanties. Canonically.
Orcs, fucking Gizmek is slowly taking over the ship.
Orcs the barrel gun, grunting at each other.
That's what I'm referring to, yeah. Or Gizmek is going to win the campaign just through cultural assimilation.
Yeah.
Win a culture victory.
Imagine it's a Civ victory, culture
Yeah.
victory.
It's a Civ culture victory.
Culture victory. That's a
Oh god.
sentence.
So we see like all this like orky stuff happening down in the mech pit, and we like pan out to see the same scene but from like a shitty black and white view screen of like a camera, and then we see like Holtz sitting in his captain's chair like looking at like this ritual happening down in his hold.
Just has like a picked cast of it.
I actually have a proposal if Gizmek is down for this.
Shoot.
To deal with this. So like Holtz doesn't really want like this growing much more than it already has. So like Holtz is planning on like speaking for Gizmek. I mean, he'll talk over this with Gizmek, but he's planning on like speaking directly to these people and having like a set like, you people are Gizmek's chosen. Anyone, and he'll like give them like a tattoo / brand that will like actually like mark them as like, you know, this tribal thing on the ship, and anyone who pretends otherwise should be dealt with in the harshest conditions. That way, like you have like that way Gizmek has like a dedicated like group of people that will follow him on the ship, but like it doesn't grow much more than that. And one that will probably like get rid of like people like getting in the way of Gizmek's like work, so he can like handpick the people he wants.
Yeah.
And
Like,
Holtz doesn't have to deal with like
Gizmek would basically agree to this on the notion that Gizmek doesn't really care. Gizmek simultaneously doesn't care about all this and is slowly finding it more and more annoying by the day, because it's a bunch of Yumis pretending to be orky, like way too hard.
Basically.
Yeah, it's a bunch of Digga boys, and they're not even making like interesting things, and we're not on Gorka Murka, so what the fuck is going on? And so he's just like, yeah, give him the sign. He like roughly draws out the shape of like the skull thing that you can on stream, if you are watching, you can see as our GM's logo, which is actually my logo.
Oh god.
So,
Nice. So that'll be their tattoo or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
their
Holtz,
branch.
you're gonna set up like a separate branch of the ship that's like Gizmek's chosen, and they're allowed to do all the ship, and no one else is allowed to, basically.
And
is
they're
thought.
responsible for crushing like any, you know, anything that goes. Yeah. So
If you pretend
so
to
go
be
ahead
an
and give
orc and you
me-
don't have the sign, you're a git and you deserve to be crumped.
Go ahead and give me a command / leadership, whatever it's called, test.
You're now entering
Difficulty
the crump zone.
5 to see how that decision goes, and then Gizmek, give me a command check 2, difficulty 2.
All right.
Can I use fellowship for my leadership skill? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So I'm
probably
going
have
to actually
it
roll.
manually.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll for insight, because I think that's insight. This is like a leadership test, but like insight has fellowship, so I'm just gonna roll that. And it's difficulty
Sure.
5.
And you've got the same number of ranks in both of those?
Yes.
Would it be all right for me to use intimidate instead?
Yes.
All right. What's my DN? Still 5?
2 for you, 5 for, because they're for different things for Holtz.
Yeah. Okay, so 5. I'm definitely gonna reroll that.
Sure.
There we go.
But
All right. We both succeed.
yep, cool. So they take well to this role, and Gizmek, you come back from like a hard day's work at the Gorkanaut, and like on your like work table, there's like a number of regicide boards and pieces that have been donated to you by the cause.
Gizmek looks at the regicide boards, realize the implication of this, and just like has the biggest shit-eating grin.
And they're like all like custom made, and they're all like name plated by the chosen that made it, you know.
Gizmek is basically becoming more and more of a tabletop modeling nerd.
Okay, great. Why don't we take a little break so I can grab some water, and then we'll do entering Gilnea's system. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Let's take 5 minutes. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, 5 minutes.
Grab a
folks.
drink too.
Yes, we are back from the break. Nah. Gizmek just like props up his feet and starts like messing around with the regicide board. Yeah, you can wait like 5 minutes. Who? Who is he? What? Oh, that. Oh, sure. He just picks up the entire regicide board. Somehow none of the pieces fall over as he starts walking with you, stomping loudly because he's an orc. Oh, you mean the ship battle? Oh, that it! Right, yeah, I'm still working on that one. He just, like, shows you up. He pulls up a data slate and shows you a photo of his work in progress, and it's just like he's, like, base-coded everything, and that's about as far as he's gotten.
It's into his own data slate and hands it back to you. And
real quick, something I just want to note very quickly that really badly happened. God damn it. This OBS is fucked and decided to not unmute the audio track for any of you guys for after the BRB screen. So I just unmuted it, and now you can be heard.
Well, long story short,
yeah.
Jacob Veronis told everybody that a convoy of black ships arrived in their absence and took up all the psychers and then left, which they shouldn't have been able to do. And they were using Holtz's name to get to that position.
Yep. And right now, we're just like splitting up, and he's asking me to come along with him to go talk to the knight dude.
No, Jaquel Veronis.
So you guys have a couple of days of preparation before you get to the Lagrange point. Anything you want to do real quick? That's like a quick thing before this meeting.
I mean, just check to see if the cogitators like found out anything about the warp core. But as far as Holtz knows, that's still like relatively unrelated.
While you guys are traveling to the Lagrange point, maybe you're like having dinner or something, and like all of the glasses on the table like they like vibrate, like the whole ship vibrates this time.
I was going to ask if Holtz would have told Sator about the warp core thing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, probably, because like that's very much a thing that a navigator would be concerned about. So yes, Holtz would tell his navigator Sator.
Yeah.
About that, especially since he's using it to basically like find his way in the warp. Yeah, that's definitely something he would bring up.
And Sator would have probably requested to see it himself with like probably a fuckload of protection, like under double bulletproof glass or something. To watch the warp core doing stuff.
Yeah, Holtz would have basically filled him in on everything that Holtz knows, as well as like what he's have like the cogitators working on, and you probably could have like figured it out in the first place if you looked at like what Holtz is doing with the cogitators.
Yeah, do you want to give me a scholar test, difficulty 5, Sator?
Yep. DN 5. I always forget that normally most tests are difficulty 3, so that's why it's base 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways.
Just this is a hard one.
I successfully again.
Sweet. Okay. So you find like a bunch of like mistakes that Holtz did with the timings of some of these things that he pumped into the cogitators, and that's why it's not coming up with anything. And so you changed some of the dates, some of the hours and stuff. to match properly.
Yep.
And when you do so, the cogitators notice a anomaly with a star that moves as you guys move around, obviously, that appears to be like changing in size every time the vibrations happen, including the most recent time.
Hmm.
And that star is the Karsoka system.
Which is like one of the last places we haven't visited yet, right? That's like the war world, or
that's the battlefield, yeah.
Yeah, then that's the system we are about to go to anyways, because that's like the final important thing we have to do.
Yeah. Okay.
There was one more, but it was more optional, and with how long it has been for us to start.
The food planet was optional.
Yeah, that planet was optional.
Hey, they can always just make some corpse starch, so.
True.
That one had a cool story, so that'll show up in a later episode, I'm sure. But
yeah, that's fine.
It was just me making too many things in a season for this system, because I wasn't aware of how fast experience would happen and stuff. Anyway, so that's a thing. So Sator, that's what like comes churning out of the cogitators, and you're like saying the next Holtz looking at them all. So what do you say? What's the convo?
Yeah, he basically passes on to Holtz that for some reason a star apparently keeps increasing in size every time this has happened.
And this star, this star is interesting in that it isn't in the visual spectrum. It's like an ultraviolet star.
And wasn't there some? And Sator does think a bit about the weird stuff with the alien race in the book, where they had some weird things increasing or decreasing in size.
Yeah, like you remember that passage about the the food being cooked faster in the sun if you made this prayer or something.
Yeah,
like the people of Karsoka worshipped their stars. They have a binary system as well. So
well, I mean, Holtz, being a spaceship captain, he would know that stars rapidly expanding in size is a sign of a star dying. Like the red giant phase of a star is
well,
it's not
cycle, right? It's not increasing in size and staying there. It's like pulsing.
Okay, that's even weirder. Okay, that's definitely bizarre and an anomaly. Whether it's directly related to the black ships or not is still up in the air. And since that's the highest priority, but like they don't have a lead on the black ships, so I guess that's like the closest thing to a lead that they have.
I feel like that's going to be the thing we go to right after we deal with the war world, depending on how the war is going.
Well, I mean, the Karsoka is the war world. Like,
yeah,
like that star is where we're heading.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But what do you want to deal with first, the war or the star? I mean, if there is still a war happening and it's not all dust again.
Well, if the star is causing our warp core to do crazy things, the star is the priority by virtue of urgency.
Yeah.
Because like if we don't have a ship, we don't get to solve anything.
Yeah.
So that would be Holtz's response. But as far as he knows, like the black ships, like he doesn't have any like smoking gun to connect the star with the black ships and like all of that. There's like some incidental like circumstantial evidence that may relate them, but like he doesn't have like anything definite and concrete. So like he can only report what he knows.
Yeah, and I assume that right after we impart this information, the big wave all the glass shatters.
I mean,
Yeah, there's another like there's like, you know, a day later there's like another big vibration, like everything like on the ship is like moving, like stuff falls off shelves, you know.
Yeah.
Holtz has to make like a propaganda announcement that everything is fine. Do not be concerned. Please return to your stations. There are no vibrations.
All right, so you guys make it to the Lagrange point, and you shuttle over to Veronis's ship. I think Gizmek is allowed to come over as well, so that you guys can all your whole command crew can come over, because it's like a big meeting amongst everybody.
Yeah, Sator, probably Saphar is also probably like coming too.
Yeah, if he ever gets back from his phone
call. He's just
call.
skulking in the background because he's still a little bit miffed.
Also, what you missed, apparently the vibration are connected to a star pulsing in the system we are about to go to after this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I imagine since like once we land on the ducal circuit from our like shuttle, like he just tells like the person that's there to greet him is like, can we take the less scenic route this time? This is urgent business.
Yes, we're to take the priority elevator, and like he like gestures to the wall, and the wall opens up, and there's like an elevator there.
Excellent.
It's like a secret elevator, so you don't have to take the scenic route. And it takes you straight to the dining room. He's got like a whole thing set up, like a whole meeting room set up in the dining room, basically. He's got one of those like hollow projectors in the center of the table. He's got like the colony of the black ships put up on the hologram from like their records. And he says, we didn't think anything of it. They came from the direction of Yerdant. They said that they were not Ronaldus. They came from the direction of Ronaldus. They said that they were here from your travels, and we were to load up the psychers, and then you were to take them away, and then you never arrived, and they just left.
I can explain why we didn't arrive. And
in this direction, and he's finishing up his point. He says they left in this direction, and he like, you know, the thing, the hologram like zooms over to these like two orbiting stars, to Karsoka. Now we've been noticing some strange astrological activity from these in the last few weeks.
Yes, our ship just picked up that information as well. Like pulls up like his own, like not necessarily the parts about like the warp core like responding to it, but like the parts about like the pulsing star Karsoka.
Yeah.
And but like I suppose we should explain why we didn't immediately return from our trip to Ronaldus. And he like pulls up like his own, like the story of like what happened, like what we found when we got there, and like the orc like attack rock that was just sitting in orbit when they arrived with like all this music blaring. And if Sator's there, like he can probably like explain like you know, the weird like signature that he found that was also like apparently affecting the orcs, and Gizmek can probably like explain like how it was affecting the orcs, since he was also an orc and being affected, which is why he brought him along. And like I'm mostly like doing this for brevity's sake, but like we're trying to explain like what we saw when we got there. After defeating the orcs, we found like the entire system was just annihilated. right? Like the STC for building black ships was missing. Like there was nothing. Like the Blackstone was just gone. There were no people. There were no witnesses. Like the only evidence of anything happening were like scorch marks from las blasters and like the corpses of Sisters of Silence, right?
Yeah, the chapter master of the I think they're the Absolvers, right? That were
Yeah, the Absolvers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the chapter master of the Absolvers, he's got like a gigantic chair set aside for him, right? And he says, well, those are obvious kill squad markings right there. This is Imperial Navy.
I came to that conclusion as well. The level of discipline needed to eradicate an entire planet in such a systematic fashion could only come from a disciplined unit. These weren't pirates. This wasn't chaos either. It could only be Imperial Navy, or at least an Imperial outfit. Perhaps Guard.
Do you think this has anything to do with the battle out there? I knew the Admiral personally. This is not something he would do.
There's more. Upon realizing that there was quite literally nothing in the system and not wanting to return empty-handed, I made the executive decision to travel on to Yordant to see if we could recover any resources. En route, we came across... we were suddenly dropped out of warp because of a certain disturbance. And at this point, he brings up the ship that we came across, like in warp travel, like the Space Hulk.
Yeah, the battleship.
Yes.
Yeah, Jakal like whistles when he sees like how much damage was done to the superstructure of this ship.
I won't bore you with all of the details, but and he like fast forwards to like the navigator spire with like all of the tech heresy.
Yeah, that like sets the chapter master off. He's like, thrones above. What has happened?
I can't say for sure, but these markings here, and he points to like the Blackstone with like the green markings, are reminiscent of the Necron language. I should know.
When you show the navigator, the Jakal's navigator that's there like blanches and like leaves the room, like she can't handle seeing it.
What evidence we did find, however, implies that they have found some way to navigate the warp without the Astronomicon.
This is outrageous.
Call it what you will, Chapter Master, but the evidence is right in front of you.
Xeno heresy. I can't believe
Yeah, that glyphoridasis, fuck you.
Also,
he stares daggers at you.
Quick reminder that
you can see his like finger twitching on his bolt pistol. You know
what? Yeah, I'm not joking. That's not an insult. That's actually what it says.
Reminder that Gizmek did say that it's like it is the language is similar to Necron, but it's not actual Necron. Like the words don't make any actual sense together.
Yeah. A good point. The Holtz does clarify that it's unlikely that the Necrons are actually working with these people. It's more likely that, if anything, they're trying to co-opt and to work the technology for themselves without assistance.
Yeah, like imitation.
Yeah. He does bring up a potential theory, though. Since their navigator left the room, he would kindly request that she be brought back in because he has a question specifically for her and for Sator.
Yeah, she comes back in a little bit later in the chat, but like she didn't want to see like the pictures. She didn't want to see the pictures of that navigator like chopped up, you know.
And basically the question is, since the Astronomicon works by projecting a huge psychic beacon, to use an analogy, it's like using a mountain as a waypoint for traversing the wilderness. Would it be possible in that sense to use a giant hole in the ground as a similar waypoint for navigating the warp? And his reasoning for this is like, if psychic, like, could like a null factor in the warp, say such as one produced by Blackstone, for instance, be used to create a reverse Astronomicon, essentially.
Reverse Astronomicon. Well, that would mean that all of the signals that we see in the warp would be pulled over us rather than displayed before us, and we would have to look for negative spaces rather than reflections of the Astronomicon. That would require a significant change in the way that we do it.
Significant enough to require, say, surgery in the back of your eyes?
This sort of thing has been done before in our history, where the eyes are seen as replaceable. They are not strong enough. There are some... She seems like reticent to say anything. History of a surgery of this kind to improve the sensitivity. Not that it's usually necessary, but for ships out on the edges of the galaxy, sometimes the Astronomicon is quite weak. But nothing like this.
I just need to ask if it's possible.
Well, obviously it's possible. Otherwise, how would that ship be out there?
Then my theory is this. Whatever they're using these psychers for, it's likely being used to power these Blackstone ships. I don't know why they need psychers, since Blackstone absorbs psychic energies. But for some reason, these things are connected. The fact they're willing to pull this ruse is evidence of that. The concerning thing is how they knew to use my name. I would suspect an insider on my ship, but I find such a thing to be quite impossible. And that's simply because no one on my ship would have been able to contact anyone from this renegade group, which means the insider has to come from here.
I mean, news of your ship's arrival and then departure from our system is everywhere. It's impossible to keep that a secret.
But my destination, my purpose?
That is a different matter entirely. We have been looking for a mole ever since they left. I figured something as much as well, that there's a spy amongst us, but I have no idea who it is.
I am not here to point fingers. I'm merely to point out that there is a traitor.
I do recommend all of us go through our retinues and see Who could have been passing information?
That will be done. Now, there is one other concern. I'm not sure how related this is, but that signal that Sator mentioned on the other ship, and you'll find in the data about the ship that we found in the middle of space had something similar. But Sator, could you describe that creature or that organism you found?
Well, it was seemingly a black ooze, which was living. It seemed extremely aggressive towards us, but it seems to be scared of the light. I've managed to already hatch something similar to it from the originating point for the beacon, which made the orcs go crazy. And from my understanding of it, it seems to like electricity. So it most likely went through the nerves of its victims and completely destroyed them.
Furthermore, the fact that we found it on this ship as well as on Ronaldus implies that that whatever this group is and whatever this creature is, they're connected.
And I almost forgot that I believe that it could control its victims' corpses for a little while. I'm pretty sure that was out of character. I'm pretty sure that was a factor, and I'm not sure if that was people being paranoid and shooting others, or if that was actually how it worked.
As Sator said, it could likely control nervous systems.
Yeah.
Through electrical signals. I'm not sure if these creatures are solely responsible for what's happening, or if they're just a factor in it. But they are definitely related to this matter. At this point, Holtz kind of sighs. It's like, why did you have to give up the suckers already?
Jaquel sort of does the same thing when he sees this like alien creature. He's like, it just gets better and better. This news. Not only do we have chaos knocking on our door, but we have horrifying ooze creatures that take over their victims.
You know how valuable this information is? I could have made a killing off of this, but because it's an emergency, I have to give it all away for free.
Yep.
Jaquel actually like starts to laugh at that, and he says, and he says, similar to my entrance to this system, you know, my managerial services have been being used for free because it's an emergency for the last decade. Both of us should be showered in gold in credits for this. Thrones, yeah, showered in thrones for this, for our work.
I suppose we'll have to do with the Emperor's praises.
We'll have to deal with we have to do with the Emperor's praises and ensuring humanity's survival. Doesn't matter if we're swimming in thrones if everyone is dead and we can't spend it, eh?
True enough. So
I love how this is an in-character moment.
Oh yeah.
This is truly quite terrifying. I'm not sure which threat to put up first. This one, or the fact that we have reports of chaos scouts hitting the fringes of the system as of late.
Well, I did bring a whole contingent of knights with me. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take care of some heretics for you. And regardless, unless you have any new advances in warp core technology, my ship is the only one that's capable of exploring the phenomena happening at Karsoka.
I cannot ask you to stay to help us with the imminent invasion, I'm sure. But I'm not sure how much. Like, what do you expect to find over there?
Captain Veronis, please. We're rogue traders. We expect everything. Platitudes aside, I'm afraid my ship has to go there. All of the information that we found leads, especially given that the black ships were heading in that direction, forces us to go to Karsoka. We don't know what we'll find, but hopefully there will be answers there. And besides, though I'm very proud of the Blackstone, one ship in the face of an invasion will hardly make a difference. My ship is better served collecting information, gathering answers. I'm humble enough to admit that.
The chapter master does stand up and he says, I'll be sending an additional contingent of absolvers with you.
Most appreciated.
And Veronis says, if you don't mind, we might be able to allow some additional escort craft to slave to you in the warp. So, should you wish it?
Oh, I'll never say no to additional firepower.
Yeah.
If the Emperor has provided one blessing to humanity, it is the firepower of macro cannons.
Yeah, he like taps on one of his pads and says, there are 2 escort craft that will meet you at the edge of the system.
I appreciate it, Lord Captain.
2 fine captains are on those vessels. Please do not lose them unneedlessly.
If I had it my way, well, who knows? I may be able to talk my way out of this. He's being sarcastic right
and with
now.
that, he ends the meeting. Everyone goes back to their respective vessels, and you start head back to the edge of the system.
So Holtz, I mean, unless there's, I'll wait to the end of the session. Never mind. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I think that we'll do free time next session so that Chrono can also do stuff.
Right. We're just going to have, so like, montage it a little bit. You get to the edge of the system where there's 2 escort craft awaiting you.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I want to ask about
Sure.
I'm going to assume that once we get new crew for anything we might need and uses and such, that the number of the fucking gangster drug making women that Sator has on his ship is going to basically
Asher
double.
girls,
The Escher crowd. Yeah. What do you want them to do?
I mean, they're still doing their thing, and I want. Yeah.
They're getting high every day.
Yeah.
they're making chemical weapons. They got gas grenades for you. You just have to ask and they'll do it.
Yeah. Sator will like as potentially making a bit more weaponry and combat stuff because it will be really fucking useful in the future. And
I think at some point you might have given them like a sample of that ooze.
He did. I mean, they did help him out with it. So, and they will probably request it. So, and with how lenient he has been with them, and because they haven't caused too much trouble, they will grant it to them.
So they give you an interesting set of grenades that are filled with like metal filaments, and they say that they'll likely like have an effect on like a electrostatic beast such as the ooze had, like the properties. Like it's like an anti-firament grenade. So it'll affect like electrical fields and magnetic fields and stuff.
Yeah.
So they think that's kind of cool. Like in their testing, they like threw it and like blew out all the lights in the room.
Yeah.
So they could provide something like that for you as well.
Yeah.
As a couple of highly multicolor grenades.
Nice.
They don't even know what they do. They say we made this last night. I don't really remember anything that happened, and then these were done. So you can have them. They're extra.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many of those electro grenades does Sator get?
They got like 3, and then they've got like one. They got 3 more like gas grenades of a bunch of different like neon colors. So you got like 6 grenades of various effects.
Yeah, I'm just gonna save that in notes. There.
Awesome.
So we'll figure out what those gas grenades do when they accidentally blow up in your face again. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so you make it to the entry point, the exit point of the system. There's 2 Imperial escort craft. What kind of what do they like?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm going to assume that they can enter the warp, but they cannot navigate it naturally.
Yeah, they have a warp core. They just have to be switched to us.
Is it alright if I get the little cliff notes about what's happened so far?
Okay, so do you mind me explaining it? So
Go for it.
So pretty much we discovered that the vibration the warp core is causing is related to a star pulsing in the system we're about to go to.
I see.
And we also we also gave Jackal that information of basically everything that we have been doing. And also the Blackstone ships said that they came from there and claimed that they were under Holtz's command.
I see.
Yeah. And
we also told them about the ooze thing.
Yeah.
Like you were there at the meeting. If there's anything like you specifically like wanted to add to it,
right. Wait, so we told who about everything?
We told the
chapter and the chapter master. Yeah.
And also the navigator Jackal has.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically you just got everybody up to speed what was going on. Jackal says there's some chaos threat, and so they're not gonna be able to like provide that much extra support, but they give you some more stuff.
They did give us 2 escort ships and some more space marines.
And I would also find it prudent to mention, since everyone is assembled, that I would mention about the meeting I had with the 2 craft worlders in the cave.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that in the after everyone said their piece during the meeting, I make it a point to step up and mention that If you would have me, I feel it pertinent to recount a certain meeting I had with two of my distant kin. And then I explain that I met these two craft worlders in a cave, and they mentioned to me that the webway in this area is crawling with Drukhari. When I say the word, when crawling with Drukhari and under the suzerain of a specific Drukhari warlord, I say that and give a little side eye to Night Guy. And before I finish, saying we should actually be careful because there might be raiders in the area.
Yeah,
Toward us.
The Thunderbolt pilot, he says, tell us something we don't know. The Drukhari have been raiding, I'm assuming, all of the systems in this sector in our absence from being able to protect each other. We're just alone in the dark out there.
You said they were under a specific warlord. Did you get a name for that warlord?
I did. I remember I did in a previous session, but fuck, I don't remember.
It was Draconius.
I say, I tell him, he seems to style himself as one Draconius of sorts. Very grandiose. His symbol appears to be a bloody hand, a besanguined palm. I don't feel the need to mention that my mother is one of his lieutenants, seemingly.
Jakal just face palms and sighs, and it's just of course she is.
No, I said I not. I specifically leave that out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mom, I specifically don't mention that.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep that to myself.
But Holtz does mention the fact that there's a single warlord at the command of these Drukhari is new information. These aren't that means that these raids are not sporadic attacks of opportunists, but rather a concerted effort by a organized front.
There are also known factions that are related to this warlord, says the knight. He says that bloody handprint appears on a lot of their vessels, but there's other symbols as well. They are massing under his banner, it seems. We see the same thing in night houses, where one night house takes command over the others. Their symbols appear within the symbols of the ones below them. To curry favor with the main house.
This is interesting. Unfortunately, as pressing as a Drukhari threat might be, I'm afraid that I don't have there's nothing relating it to either the impending Chaos invasion or the Karsoka happenings. They might be tangentially related. They might be unrelated. But I guess I suppose the most prudent course of action would be to be wary of any surprise attacks. From what I know of Drukhari, they are very opportunistic, and a pitched battle between two opposing factions may make easy pickings for them.
Well, I definitely hope they don't arrive after the Chaos invasion. We'll be so stretched then.
That's precisely when they'll arrive, and you and I both know it.
Now that you said it.
Now that I've said it, I've put it out into the universe.
You've jinxed it.
One thing that I want to ask is Saphar going to mention that thing where the Eldar told him, hey, leave the entire system?
I mean, that was probably part of the conversation.
Yeah, that was part of the conversation.
Yeah.
The Emperor himself could barely help us in this situation. We're being pulled from all sides.
Yeah,
we will do our best.
Besides, there's no leaving system for us.
We will do the Emperor proud. Okay, so that's when he ends the meeting. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. The escort craft that meet you are Claymore class corvettes, which are tiny for 40K ship standards. They're only 1.4 kilometers long.
I mean, we're also
the Raiders also an escort. Like the Blackstone is an escort class ship, but it's probably like still bigger than the Corvettes.
Yeah, these are specifically smaller than frigates. So
yeah,
I believe the Blackstone is a frigate.
It's a Raider.
They don't have like navigators of their own. They slave their warp systems to like a frigate, basically.
Yeah, they basically just connect big ass wires to us.
And they just like follow in your warp signature, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's basically like stealing your neighbor's cable.
Yeah.
I hail them and introduce myself as Captain Holtz, Rogue Trader.
Yeah, they're snappy. They're like also Imperial Navy. Like they got the Imperial Navy colors. They're not like Jakul Varonis' fleet or anything. They're like the Imperial Navy that were basically stuck here that should have gone to Karsoka in the first place.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so they've got all they snap to attention and they're like super strict and stiff. One of them is a guy. He's got like half of his hair like melted off, and he's got like like a bunch of like cybernetics on that side of his head, and you can see like the cords like attached to his command chair. And the other is a fairly young woman, but she is extremely stiff in her bearing. And the two of them just like they tell you send any commands that you wish us to perform, and we will follow in your wake, Blackstone.
Understood.
You also there's like a battle barge waiting for you all at that point, and a number of vessels come from the battle barge, and there's a lot more Space Marines on your ship now. You've got 3 squads, so like 15 Marines, and they're all Primaris.
Oh. Okay.
One of which is another infantry squad, like intercessors, and then the other one is a Hellblaster squad. So they have plasma rifles.
Awesome.
And Invictor Brahm has taken over command over the 3 of them. So there are sergeants in the other squads, but Invictor Brahm like far outranks them. So.
Okay. Yeah. To the captains, Holtz is like, you come well recommended by Captain Varonis. I expect great things out of you.
You will have great things, sir. They close off they just close, like they're super cut and dry. I don't want to give them any personality.
Disposable.
I mean, that Holtz was just basically, Emperor protects and
there's only so many NPCs I can handle in my brain at once. So
that's fine. I don't think that we are going to care about random captain number 1 and random captain number 2.
They speak entirely in stock lines. Like you just walk up to one, patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear win.
I was an adventurer like you until I took an arrow.
They're all just like the fucking Texas speech on TikTok.
They don't even have voice actors. Like the rest of the main quests all have voice actors, and these 2 captains are just text.
They haven't earned their right for voice actors yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ships slave themselves to you, and then Mirus, I need you to make me a big navigation check. The warp in front of you, you like turn, you open your eyes and you look into the warp, and it is a roiling. It is very, very roily.
Oh boy.
So it's going to be difficulty like 8.
First thing, we had a glory earlier from the intimidation roll for Gizmek.
Did we?
Yes,
Yes.
he succeeded with he had a icon he
Oh,
could
because
shift.
it was difficulty 2. Yes, so we could
Yes.
shift.
I'm
Yes, you
just
get
gonna
glory.
use that now for
Okay,
one dice.
I'll slowly roll it back the way it came.
Also, I'll have to roll dice manually because somewhat manually because of all of this. First,
Well, I can give you the glory to the pool, and then you can spend it, right?
Yeah, I'm spending it right now. So first, I'm going to roll 5d6 dice, which is what I have in my piloting skill plus 1 from the glory.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I need to check my notes because I should get a plus 1 from being a navigator. It's somewhere in here. I don't remember where I fucking placed the thing. Or it might automatically be there. Yeah, I remember that I get like half my rank to navigation checks.
We do not make nearly enough of those to
Yeah.
justify that. I'm sorry.
Plus rank bonus dice to piloting skills when voice ship steering through the warp.
Mm-hmm. So you get plus 2 rank.
Yeah, so that's 4 from... First, that's 4 from piloting, plus 1 from this, and with that, it's 7. 7d6, and then I will roll. Can I actually just add the dice to my willpower? Dice pool, yeah. 6, so it's 13. 13, or no, it's 6 by default, 7 bonus. And the difficulty is 8.
I had 8, yeah.
It is 8.
Yep. But I'm also rolling a really funny big number of dice, so we'll see how this goes. But 14
You easily
successes.
get it. Yeah, and you get a glory anyway, but it doesn't matter because we're going to reset the field after this anyway.
Yeah,
so,
and also a bonus for getting there fast.
yeah.
Actually, a glory will matter, and I will tell you why after the session ends.
Well, I'm going to make it shift an extra 6 as well for another reason. So, so you punch it in, you set off, you slave on to these other 2 escort craft that follow in your wake, and it's like everything in the warp is trying to stop you from getting to this planet. Not only do you have to deal with incredible warp storms that are just like appearing right out in front of you that you have to like quickly change direction and like skirt around them. But the stars that you're traveling to themselves appear to be like pushing back against you. Like now and then there'll be like a wave of energy that just like waves over your ship. And when it does so, the whole ship vibrates with the crystal in the warp core. There are like these eddies that are just like constantly coming from Karsoka at regular intervals, and they're becoming like larger and larger. It's like a ship in a storm when like the waves just keep getting higher and higher and higher, and the ship has to like go all the way up over them, right? Like through your incredible skill, you managed to make it through without any damage to you or the escorts. A couple of times the escorts get like dangerously close to like hitting a shoal in the warp and like just like opening up their guts, but you managed to like pull them out just in time.
Yeah.
And so basically like those shifted 6s are like times when the escort crafts would have died.
Yeah.
But you managed to make them survive. This is the absolute worst you've ever seen the warp in your entire career as a navigator.
We need to have him like clinging to the mast of a ship, screaming and cursing the sky, like a sailor who's losing his mind. Like Captain Ahab or something.
Like typically, Sator, you're able to like, just change course now and then and do other stuff. But this one, like you're literally up the entire time, like having to make course corrections or the ships will crash. So I'm going to have you make another test as well to see if you get like some shock from this endeavor, and you'll come out of the warp like exhausted.
Yeah.
So that will be Let's do like a conviction test, like difficulty 5.
I'm pretty sure that I do get something to Yeah, I get half my rank to conviction test, so I get a plus
Okay.
1.
So you'll get +1, yeah.
Conviction. I'm just gonna roll manually because it's like for corruption or mutation, and I don't want to accidentally get some bullshit because of how Foundry works with rolls.
Sure.
So my conviction is 6 plus 1 is 7. 7d6, and my and my difficulty number is 5.
Yep.
And it's 4. It's the
That's
last
5.
one is a
you,
6.
and you crit.
Nice.
So you were built for this. You're literally like genetically modified and built for this particular behavior. And so at some point, like that whole thing just takes over, and like it allows like half your brain to rest at a time. And yeah, you basically just walk right through the stress on your body. No problem. So that's good.
He's beginning to believe.
Yeah. I think that'll mean that Sator won't have any downtime during the warp travel, but the rest of you will. I was going to end at 1 today, so we only got like 8 more minutes. So I think this is a good spot to end it. I don't have to prep any weird warp shit on the way to Karasuka.
Also, once we after the session ends, I have to roll for mutation, so that's why I wanted the 1 glory point.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna get 10 experience. So you guys will be at 280 for next time. So you guys will rank up. So you guys will all be rank 3. Yeah. So where is that? Oh, I need to make I need to create a channel in this now experience.
Yeah.
Create channel. So I could say 280.
Right. Should we like do a sign off here?
We can do shout outs.
Hey, anyone have anything that you want to shout out real quick? I'll let you do it since it's been a while since we've done anything.
Shout
out to Chrono and his channel.
Character.
Yay. Shout out to my channel.
Subscribe to his channel, he's cool.
Shout outs to everyone who doesn't do things on the internet and
whose only impact on the internet is this.
Who's only here to have fun and not to improve their business ventures, you know. So
I don't
if this were an attempt at an honest business venture to make a profit, I would be a horrible salesman.
Shout out
considering how much I've lost on art and everything.
Yeah, I totally. No,
shout out to
it's very sarcastic.
Yeah. Shout out to Zinch worshippers then.
They know the plan. And thank you everyone for dropping by. This has been Unlucky Rolls, Blackstone Tales, session 12 of the 2nd season in Wrath and Glory. Thank you everyone once again for dropping by. I hope to see you for this campaign next week, along with Necromunda immediately after.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Hey.